Part 4. We spent almost an hour going through that box together. The letters told a fragmented story. This woman had apparently fallen for someone in the building decades ago, someone she could only refer to by initial, and their relationship had to stay hidden because of who him downstairs was. One later letter, dated much closer to what would have been near the end of her life, mentioned that M had passed away and that she still knocked on doors sometimes out of habit, an old signal nobody would ever answer again. Frank, who'd been quiet through most of this, finally spoke up and said something that made the whole thing click into place. He remembered now, one of the building's very first tenants, decades back, had been a man everyone in the building just called by his first initial because of some kind of dispute with his own family. Frank hadn't thought about him in years, but the pieces started fitting. M had lived in my apartment, not the woman who died 3 years ago, M, decades before her. The woman with the letters had lived somewhere else in the building and used to sneak down to knock on his door using that exact signal, 3 slow knocks, so he'd know it was her and not him downstairs, who turned out, based on one letter, to be her own father, checking on her. So the knocking I'd been hearing wasn't random. It matched a signal invented decades ago by 2 people who were both long gone, tied specifically to the apartment I now lived in. I asked Frank the obvious question. How were the knocks still happening now, all these years later, if both people involved were dead? He didn't have an answer. Nobody did. What we did figure out, going through building records afterward, was that the woman who died 3 years ago in my apartment had actually been the daughter of that first woman, the letter writer. She'd apparently requested that specific unit when she moved in, years after her mother had passed, though nobody currently working there remembered why at the time. Comment, Part 5, if you want to know what happened after we found all this out.